All right, this is my review for August 8th, 2025. Uh, this was a pretty solid session, if I might say so myself. If I pull up a screenshot here, I should be able to show you what the P&L was. Is this it? No, never mind. I don't know where it is. Anyways, solid day. You can see here that a lot of my trades were green. Um, not only in terms of profit, but in terms of quality. I like to specify between the two. So if we jump to August 8th, up 16 ticks at the end of the day, a total of 17 trades, 12 wins, 5 losses. My average winning trade and my average losing trade are about the same at 2.2 ticks. So roughly 1 to 1. With a win rate of 70%. So those are pretty good numbers. I want to try and maintain those numbers going forward, risking roughly 1 to 1 and with a win rate close to 70%. I think that has pretty positive expectancy. However, the trouble I'm running into currently is size. I'm trading 2 lot micros. So when I'm taking these tight scalps, you can see almost all my average winning trade was 2.2 ticks. So if my average win is only 2 ticks, the commissions I'm paying on that round trip, um, it's more than 50%. Like I want to say it's more than that. I won't get into the exact calculations right now because honestly, I'm not doing this for profit right now. That's not my goal. Obviously, my goal is to stop losing money. That is goal number one for any trader, especially a developing trader. Making money is not really my priority. So the fact that I didn't lose money on a session like this is very good. The fact that the quality of my trades were very good makes me very happy, and I think you'll come to see in the next couple days that the the edge exploration that I've been doing in the last couple weeks is something clicked here on August 8th. Something clicked, and I think I've hit somewhat of a stride. Now that doesn't mean I'm gonna be buying a Rolex tomorrow, but it does mean that um, I think I've broken through to the next level in my trading career. Um, again, not necessarily money wise, but in terms of edge, I think I have found an edge that works, that is repeatable and is fairly consistent. So let's jump into it. I've already tagged all these trades. We'll jump into trade number one. Um, this was a 2 tick profit to the long side. We can watch the recording here. So you'll see throughout this session that this 3 second chart on the right is going to change a lot. The appearance is going to change. I'm messing with different indicators. You can see I threw a volume profile on there. Um, I shouldn't be adjusting things on the fly like this. Like by the end of the session, my screen is going to look totally different than it did at the beginning of the session. And I don't think I should be doing that while I'm also placing live trades. I think this is probably refinement that I should be doing after hours or during like drill sessions or something like that. I don't think it was wise for me to be doing this in the middle of a trading session, but regardless, I did. It turned out to work for the better because by the end of the session, I found something that I really liked. Um, I kind of stumbled across it actually, and it has treated me well in the last couple sessions. So trade number one is a basic slip favor trade. We're trading into this little micro range right here. Um, what's really cool is that the delta is setting up a really big reclaim. that is disproportionate to the price action. So price action is holding on the bottom here, but orders are puking down lower, which means that buyers are absorbing this. So I've got the range working for me. I'm mean favor on this, basic mean reversion on the micro time frame, and I've also got a really nice delta reclaim, which is going to, I think, boost this trade back up into that range. So you can see I get long here, eat a couple ticks of drawdown, but I don't really have a reason to sell at this point. I think I take it there for 2 ticks. Now, this was an early exit. I easily could have held to the top of the range, especially since it is a rather tight range. I think I could have held this for 5 or 6 ticks. But regardless, green star trade just with an early exit. At this point in the session, I am calm, I am content, I am patient, and I had good clarity on this trade. Let's jump to the next one. This is trade 2. 2 ticks profit to the short side this time. So you can see here I got a little bit of a wick upwards, which I really like. We invalidated the reclaim on the price action, and I've also got these 2 yellow lines below us. I'll jump into what those mean a little later. It's kind of part of my edge exploration. But I'm thinking essentially because we wicked up here on such small volume comparatively on the delta, that this move is going to continue downwards because sellers are obviously still present. I try to take it off for 5 ticks, but I don't get it. So I have to move the order up. I get 2 ticks profit. Had I held, I would have had to hold for a long time, but yes, eventually it would have given me those 4 ticks. So this was a green star trade, conservative scalp, calm, content, patient, and clear. My exit was a little early. Trade 3 is a break even to the short side. You'll see here, kind of similar to the last setup where we've got a slip range. We've got those 2 yellow bars below us, which I will go into detail on in a minute. And the delta sellers are still clearly in control on the delta. I mean, orders are just pouring in. You could make the argument that there's buyer reloading going on because sellers are dumping the delta, but price is relatively flat. So I do think in a certain sense I was offsides here going short. But regardless, I don't hate the idea. I think it was relatively solid. So this will be a yellow star, conservative scalp. I am still calm, content, patient, and in between is what I would say for clarity. I don't think I'm clear or confused. I'm somewhere in between. And then I wrote exit early on this. Does it actually end up going in my favor? It does, yeah. So the trade idea does go on to work. I could have held that a little longer. But that's okay because I'm not really in love with the idea either. I do think the delta was screaming buyer absorption. Trade 4, this is a 3 tick loss to the short side. Let's watch the recording. So you can see here I am starting to experiment with the appearance of my chart. I'm switching to number bars to clearly see the volume per bar per tick, roughly. This isn't a tick chart. It's still a 3-second bar chart, technically. But it's displaying the amount of volume that's being traded on every bar. So we get a quick wick to the upside, and I take it short. And I cut it there pretty quick for a 3-tick loss. However, if I'm not mistaken, I do think this ends up working later. That's just a little early. Yeah, so later on it ends up working. I could have got it, but I was just early, which is fine. I'm totally fine with taking losses that are just, I was early, and I wasn't that early. It's not like I was impulsive. It was just I happened to be early. So this is again a conservative scalp. Um, I did like this setup, at least for a couple ticks. Um, I wrote entry early, so I could have waited just a little bit longer for more confirmation. But my exit was good considering where I got out. I was calm, content, patient, and clear on this trade. I did have clarity because the move ended up working. All right. Trade 5. This is a 3-tick win to the short side. So essentially the exact same setup. We're downtrending on the delta and in the price. We do a quick wick upwards. So we break to make a new pivot low, and then we put in a nice clear wick to the upside, like we jump up really fast, creating sort of a gap in volume. I have a traditional volume profile on the right side of the screen that shows me gaps in the volume. But I'm also utilizing these number bars, and I still have to refine it at this point. Like what you're seeing on this chart is the very, very early stages of this indicator. So it's not clearly a setup for me, but it is good. I would say this is a good setup. Take it for 3 ticks, and I could have held it longer. I could have easily gotten 4 or 5 ticks out of that. So conservative scalp. This was both a reclaim and a reclaim fade. I also had the spoof tag on this because what I had just described to you is what I would consider spoofing. And we reclaimed it. My entry was perfect, but my exit was just a little early. Calm, content, patient, and clear. Next trade is trade number 6. This is 1 tick win to the short side. So this one's pretty quick. Let's rewind that. We get a quick wick up with gaps in the profile and gaps in the bars. So that's telling me there's not a lot of volume there. And because we're downtrending on the price and we're downtrending on the delta, I'm pretty confident that we're going to reclaim back down. However, I do wish this wick was a little taller. This looks just a little too grindy to me. That being said, we did invalidate the reclaim behind us, so I suppose it's not a horrible trade, and that's probably why I took it off so quick. So I get filled, and then I instantly place an order for 2 tick profit, but I have to move it up to get the 1 tick. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I could have held it, but this was a risky area, so I'm not terribly upset with 1 tick profit. I tagged this as an aggressive scalp. I think I'm getting a little too aggressive here, shorting at the lows. I would like it to pull back a little further. This was a reclaim spoof trade. Entry early and exit late is what I tagged that as. I'm not sure why I tagged that as exit late. I think I just should have gotten out of it a little quicker considering where I was, maybe for a break even or something. I'm calm, content, maybe patient. I don't think my patience is perfect at this point, given the fact that I'm jumping into trades like that, and my clarity is in between. This is trade number 7 for 2 ticks profit to the short side. And I can already tell this is a beautiful trade. Could have held it a little longer. Yeah, I definitely could have got the point out of that, I think. Conservative scalp on a spoof. Entry was good, exit was early, and at this point, I think I have regained my calmness, contentment, patience, and clarity. I'm feeling very good at this point. Trade number 8 is 2 ticks profit to the short side. Again, this is an excellent setup. We do have pretty clear spoofing here. There's a big reclaim on the delta that we have invalidated. I'm actually going to screenshot this one. Let me get my screenshot software out. So we have invalidated this reclaim. Fix my keyboard real quick. So invalidated reclaim. Balance. We're balancing the book on the micro time frame. There's still a lot of balance above us, but that's okay because the book doesn't always like to completely balance. This was good. This is a good window of edge. We've got our spoofing. How should I highlight spoofing? I'm going to do this. Spoofing. This is my entry. This is my exit. And my ideal exit would have been at the bottom, which I should do. I need to do a better job of highlighting. Ideal exit. I should let the video play a little bit more because I'm fairly fucking confident that we did end up hitting that. Where's my phone? I can hear it vibrating. 1 second. Make sure no one's trying to get a hold of me. Okay. So, pretty strong spoofing there. Oh, fuck. Okay. And then arrow. We are downtrending. So downtrend established on the delta, meaning that we are in favor of the trend by going short here, which is always the goal with this particular setup. 3 second plus 2 ticks short. This is the 3 second. Okay. So we invalidated the reclaim. We've got reclaim below us. We've got spoofing below us. This is a great fucking trade. All right, let me save that screenshot here. So I'm going to tag this one as A+. Granted, I could have held a lot longer, and let's play the video and just see if it ends up hitting my target. My target would have been maybe 4 or like 375 around that area. Yeah, so it would have hit to the tick almost, I think. No, so it looks like 4 definitely hit, and that would have filled me. I think it touches 350. So yeah, if my target was 4 there, let's see, what was my entry price? My average price was 550. So if my target was 4, that would have been 6 tick win. So, execution wise, this was not A+, but as far as technicals go, this is fucking awesome. I love this trade a lot. Let's go to trade number 9. Now this is a 4 tick loss to the long side. So I think simply put, I was fighting the trend here. Now, I still have it marked as a green star trade. Let's see why. So I go long here. We're kind of at low of day. Now, there is spoofing above us. There's kind of two spoofs above us. However, um, if I'm using delta as confirmation, so let's say spoofing is the signal, spoofing is the entry signal, but delta is the confirmation. I think delta is confirming that I'm offsides. Delta is pretty clearly agreeing with down moves right now. Each sharp down move has pretty solid volume on the delta. Excuse me. I think later in the session I do more refinement on the indicator and on the setup itself, because currently this is a few days in the future. I'm behind on reviews, but in hindsight, I'm looking back at this and I'm saying this is not a good setup because I'm fighting the trend of the price and the delta. It's just not a great trade. So I try to get out for 2 ticks loss, but I can't, so it hits my stop loss for 4 ticks. I'm gonna change this. Okay, I mean this is very confusing to most, but I'm gonna change this from a green star to a red star because I don't think I should have been trading in this area. I think I was fighting the trend, and actually, I might add a new tag under the mistakes tab for fighting trend. I'm going to make that white. Yeah, so let's throw that on there. Fighting the trend. And I was confused. So clearly when I tagged this the first time, I was not taking these things into consideration. So this is trade number 10. Trade 10 is a 3-tick profit to the long side. And I have it marked as a green star now, but let's see if that changes. So I go long here. We've got spoof above us. But Delta's still fighting, man. I think this was luck. I think I was just lucky it didn't hit my stop. Yeah, so it ends up trading through the spoof. However, again, in hindsight, so a couple days after the fact, after I've played around with this setup a little more, I'm going to red star this. Even though it is a profitable trade, I think this is a red star trade. I don't think I should be trading this necessarily. I'm going to change that to confused. However, even though these are the 2 red star trades, emotions are not a factor in it. My emotions are still calm, content, and patient. I think these are just technical mistakes. I'm making technical mistakes on the delta. I will also tag these as context miss because I am missing pretty important context. All right, this is trade number 11. This is a 3-tick profit to the short side. However, I sit in this trade for it says 3 minutes. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes there's glitches, but let's see. So I get filled to the short side. Right away, yeah, this was a glitch. I got out in a couple seconds. I'm not crazy about this trade. Actually, maybe I do really like it. Hold on, let me see here. This price is moving up, but delta's staying flat. Yeah, I don't like this trade. There's not enough spoofing below us, for one. I do think I kind of nailed my entry, and this might end up being a good setup one day because we're trading into a prior spoof and invalidating it. to the short side, which means that I'm trend favor. So I don't want to be long going into that spoof because I would be fighting the trend. However, if we trade into it and then reject, I can take it to the short side, hypothetically. Um, this is still something I haven't tested enough. I don't know what the reliability of these sorts of setups are, so I can't say for certain whether it's good. It did end up working in this particular scenario, but that could just be luck. That could just be a one off. Um, I'll keep that as a green star for now. Um, conservative scalp, spoofing, entry good, exit good, calm, content, patient, and clear on it. And that is a green star. Trade number 12, 2 tick profit to the long side. And it's kind of the exact same setup I just said. We've got spoofing below, we're invalidating it, and I'm taking it to the long side as like a bounce almost, kind of like a sport resistance bounce. And it looks like it works. Now, how well does it work? Yeah, see, if I had stayed in there for another 2 seconds, it would have puked against me, and I would have taken a big loss on it. So I have this marked as a yellow star. I'm actually going to change it to a red star trade. I don't think I should have been trading here. Entry early, exit was good. I'm very glad I got out of that when I did, but I'm missing important context and I'm fighting the trend. Calm, content, patient, but I'm going to change this to confused. I don't think I had clarity here. And I shouldn't have been trading here. So let's move on to trade 13. This is a 1 tick profit to the short side. Pretty simple setup. We're spoofing. We've got a really nice slip range. This might actually be an exit, an early exit, and it is. So I could have held that for a point. I have this tagged as a yellow star trade. I'm going to change it to a green star because I really like this. There does exist a world where I am over trading right now. However, I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt because I think I'm trying to get more screen time with this particular setup using the Delta and just trying to develop my skills. And while I am a strong believer in shorter trading sessions, I think at the end of the day, screen time is king. And I, it's very easy that it's a thin line. You're walking a really thin line between getting more useful screen time and getting more counterproductive screen time, meaning over trading, going on tilts, trading things that don't have edge. I think I'm doing a good job of managing that right now. I'm taking a lot of trades, but they all have edge, albeit very small amounts of edge. So, let's move on to the next one. This is trade number 14, 1 tick profit to the short side. And right away, I really like this setup. I've got slip favor. We're invalidating the reclaim on the price action and on the delta. There's a little bit of balance above us though, so I could run into trouble. I think my impulse is going to be to say that I could have held this for a point, or maybe even like 6 ticks, but considering the fact that there's so much delta imbalance above me on my backside, I think I need to keep it tight in a trade like this. I need to take it for 2-3 ticks. So I take it for 1 right there. And it does go on to give me the whole move. So I could have held that, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I have this tagged as a yellow star. I'm going to change it to a green. I think this is a green star trade. I took it off really quick in an area that had quite a lot of risk because of that balance on my backside, but I'm still trading with the trend. I've still got slip favor. I even marked this as an A+ trade. Conservative scalp, calm, content, patient, and clear on it. Yeah, I really like that one. I'll even I'll even go back and screenshot this. So let me do that real quick. Sorry, I want to take short. And then there's pretty clearly spoofing right here. Let me invalidate this reclaim. I think my entry was here. My exit was here. My ideal exit would have been probably a lot lower. Still some imbalance left. Important to keep risk tight. Could blow upward. And then I am still trend favor. All right, I like that. Let's paste that in there. Good, so now we've got a flashcard of the A+ trade. All right, trade 15 is a 2-tick loss to the short side. Now, just looking at this right away, I can see kind of where it went wrong. The point of the spoofing is to it's essentially pullbacks. That's all it is. It's in the simplest possible terms. This spoof setup is just entering on pullbacks. So I want to be trend favor. I want to make sure the trend of the price agrees with the trend of the delta, the book, and I want to catch those quick pops to the upside, because essentially what's happening is the sellers, and this is all hypothetical, there's no real way for me to know exactly what the motive is here, but hypothetically, sellers need to generate more liquidity to keep pushing price down. So what they'll do is they will pull all their orders from the offer, and when they pull, and hypothetically, we're in a downtrend. Sellers need to generate liquidity, so they will pull their offers, and price will puke upwards, because all those offers, every sell order that was keeping the market down just got lifted. So it goes boom and it shoots up. My goal is to catch that move, to jump in it, and to ride the reclaim down, because now sellers have generated liquidity. They can continue the downtrend. They can continue the campaign. What I'm doing wrong on this particular trade is that we put in some sort of support at the low of day, and then we puke through it pretty significantly, like 2 points, more than 2 points. And then we reclaim back up to the long side on a pretty sharp move, on pretty substantial buying volume, and that's where I'm getting short. That's not a pullback. That's just a natural reclaim of price to the downside, and there's a lot more upside potential. Because there was a liquidity event. We cleared liquidity to the downside, and now we're trading back upwards, which means that buyers are present, and I'm fighting the trend, at least on the micro time frame. For shits and giggles, it does end up working. But still, it could have easily blasted against me. So this is a yellow star trade, conservative scalp. I'm going to take the spoofing tag off that because it doesn't look like spoofing. That looks like pretty natural price action that I'm fighting. Context miss, competent patient, and I am confused on this trade, I think. I'm also fighting the trend. Trade 16, 2-tick loss to the short side. And I think this is kind of the same thing that I just described, except a little different. What's happening is we're putting in a slip range at the low of day, and buying volume is kind of coming in. Granted, sellers are doing a pretty good job of keeping it down. However, the important context here is that they could be putting in a reversal here. So shorts are valid. I think this was a valid idea. I just need to be pretty careful about it. So I get short right here, and it comes back on me pretty quick. And I managed to get it off for a 2-tick loss. Let's see what ended up happening. Yeah, that would have blew me out. It would have came back on me. So yes, they are putting in a reversal here. I just need to be careful of that in the future. So I am actually going to screenshot this real quick. Slip. I gotta sit up more. It's not good for my back to be slouching like that. So slip ranging at low of day could be signaling reversal, especially since buyers are stepping in on the delta. Okay. This was the quote-unquote spoof that I wanted to take back. Actually, it doesn't look like spoofing. There's solid buy volume there. I will actually highlight that. Not a spoof. Stepping in. Here. Breaking out of slip range. So we're breaking out of slip range. We're reversing. We've got all this reclaim above us. We've got all this book balance against us. While getting short might seem like the best idea, it's just there's a lot of risk. It could come back pretty easily. And I'll even highlight. Okay. So I know exactly what went wrong with this trade. This is a red star trade. I'm pretty clearly confused here. I got a little bit of fear. I'm missing context. I'm technically trend favor still, but I just got to be really careful because shit is changing. There's a change of character here. Trade 17, last trade of the day, 5 ticks profit to the short side. Let's watch it. Nice. So I'm not crazy about this trade. I don't think what happened back here was spoofing. I think that's pretty solid price action. I think we're clearly uptrending on the 3 second. We're technically still downtrending on the 30 second, but it looks there's signs of reversal. There are pretty clear signs of reversal. We put in a range at the low of day. We broke out of it on pretty clear buy-in volume. We're starting to balance the book to the upside. What's interesting is the move that it just put in, the trade that I just took to the downside, that move looks like a good long setup. So what I might do, just to practice, is I might play the video. I'm going to take a pulse check long here in my mind. This is just a hypothetical trade. And see if this would have worked. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a much better trade in my opinion. Had I gone long here instead of going short after the move played out, I think that would have been a much better play. And I would have been trend favor on the 3 second. So this was a yellow star trade. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. I don't think it was worth 5 ticks. I think it was worth like 2 or 3. I just happened to get 5 ticks out of it. Conservative scalp. Entry good. I'll even change this to exit late. I should have exited that sooner, honestly, which is, I know it's kind of counterintuitive to think that way, but it is what it is. Calm, content, patient. And I'm going to put in between for my read because I don't think I was necessarily clear, but I also wasn't confused. I had a pretty good pulse check on the market. So that was my day. In my opinion, this was a very good trading session. I'm really happy with it, especially since I traded with confidence. I traded a new setup that I'm experimenting with. I think like right now it's important to keep into context that my size is so incredibly small. I'm trading 2 micros this session, and I think with size like that, I can, in theory, get away with experimenting and trying new stuff. But at the end of the day, I still need to manage my risk. I need to keep on top of my emotions. I can't just be placing 100 trades. So, in that way, I'm kind of stuck in a paradox about how I feel about this session. On one hand, I did a very good job of experimenting. I got lots of good screen time. I was productive. I'm being productive by reviewing it. But on the other hand, I overtraded. I shouldn't be, placing that many trades and sitting at the desk for that long. So it's kind of paradoxical how I feel about this session. However, in the grand scheme of things, I did really, really like this session, and I'm proud of it. If there's one lesson to take away from it, I think it would have to be just um, while it's okay to experiment with edge, I think I should be doing it on sim. I don't think I should be doing it with live trades. I got away with it this time because my size is so small. But if I was trading like a mini, I think I could have really gotten into some trouble if I was experimenting like this. So, good session. I'm proud of it. The next couple sessions coming up are really good too, and those reviews should be up shortly.